What is up, everyone, and welcome to RoushParts.com mini-series, the final race, guys. We're right here on the Roush Performance eSports page, the official page of Roush Performance, and we're so glad to have you guys. And look at this, we're joining you kind of in real time, and so we're kind of hanging out. You know, me and Joey, we ain't got many friends, so we're hanging out with you guys tonight. Joey, man, I'm ready to kick this thing off. I'm pretty excited. We have seen some awesome racing, and racing gets even more awesome as we get down to the final race. Why don't you tell everyone where we're at, what we're doing, and yeah, give us a little recap here.
Yeah, well, howdy everybody out there tonight, and we're going to be wrapping up the RoushParts.com mini-series with the final event. We are here at the Red Bull Ring in Spielberg, Austria, virtually, of course. And we got GT3 cars tonight, just like we had at Watkins Glen last week, and should be action-packed. I think that both of those races last week were pretty nail-biting. And I was impressed with how many cars were on track, and it looks like we got a solid field of 20 or more tonight as well, Trev.
Yeah, no, and with that same 20 that we've been seeing throughout the series, it's looking like the same names up top here, as we just saw Paul Darling turn fastest lap in qualifying right now. So we're going to jump actually over to qualifying here. They're getting ready to wrap this up here. Looks like they have about 3 minutes left before we go green flag. But let me just tell you, Joe, as we said it, Paul Darling, super quick tonight. But also we got Andrew up there, Ross, John Kroom. We got some pretty fast guys, and these guys are all within just hundredths of a second.
Yeah, you are right. And one person that I'm looking at is sneaky Paul Slavonic there, sitting in 5th place right now. He is a regular with us here at the Roush eSports. And shout out to him. I think he might be the only McLaren in tonight's field, but you're right. Ooh. Paul Darling won both of our races at Watkins Glen. I believe he was on pole. Andrew Pilata, guess what? He's a prior Roush Grassroots Series race winner. Ross Booth, I think, was the only person to be able to hang with Paul last week. And then John Kroom has been on top of the timesheets in the top 2 all week here in Red Bull Ring. So I think it's looking like a top 5, and it doesn't stop there. It goes all the way down. You look, everybody that's put in a time so far is within just a couple seconds, and the majority of them only a 10th or 2 separating each position as you go down.
No, definitely. And look at who's rounding up that top 10 there, Jack Roush Jr. Let me just tell you guys, Jack has been putting in the time on the sim, which is super cool to see, and is absolutely climbing the charts. We seen him last week kind of hang around that 16th spot. He was fighting for some positions, but you can see he's feeling a little bit more confident, putting in some decent qualifying times right now, and it looks like he might get a top 10 start here.
Yeah, Jack has really been putting in the time on the sim the last couple weeks. I know that he wants to be a little bit more serious there, and it's definitely showing. You know, he was hanging out mid-pack in Watkins Glen, and it looks like he's definitely elevated his performance here, and I expect to see him charging towards the front, definitely.
Man, and with that American Wilman Lambo, what better car to charge the front in. Absolutely love it. Got the American flag flying on the top of the roof there. Love it. It looks like Jack's about to kind of reset himself here, maybe get in one more lap before we go green flag. But yeah, no, Joe, RoushParts.com mini-series, guys. If you haven't visited RoushParts.com, make sure you go do it. Go check it out. If you're looking to upgrade that Mustang, F-150, Bronco, Ranger, Super Duty, you need wheels, cold air intake, superchargers, performance packs. Oh man, speaking of performance pack, guys, we got big horsepower coming out for the Bronco. So be on the lookout for that September 9th. So make sure you head over to RoushParts.com, click the Bronco parts, and check out the newest performance pack and see what kind of horsepower we're going to be putting down in the Bronco. Super stoked to bring that to you guys and all those Bronco owners out there. But let's talk about you guys. You guys are tuned in from where? Let's hear where you guys are here. We want to hear where you're from and who you're cheering on. And of course, compliments of how good looking Joey and I are. Now that you see us, we can't hide nothing. You're going to see raw, real emotion. We might even start singing and dancing. Who knows? All right.
I'm gonna leave that one up to you.
Hey, I'm in. I am in. All right, guys. Looks like we're going to be getting the grid results here very shortly. And here it is.
And these guys are on a shorter pace lap here at Red Bull Ring, so we'll run through these real fast. Starting on pole, once again, that rocket ship, number 155, Paul Darling, with Andrew Pilata rounding out the front row with him. Ross Booth, John Kroom make up row 2. Paul Slavonic and Will Robbins in row 3. Max Baumann and Sean Fritz in row 4. Trent McMillan and our fearless leader, Jack Roush Jr., rounding out the top 10 there. Joe Nagy and David Trumbley there in 12th, followed by Peachy Campos, Jim Johnson, Rolly Filgaris, Stephen Baker, Murphy Nichols, and then we got Steve Palladino and Chandler Welling rounding out the top 20, which will complete our field in this RoushParts.com mini-series here at Red Bull Ring.
And there was the official grid, starting grid of Continental Tire. Shout out to Continental Tire for keeping these guys grounded, keeping them quick, and keeping them safe on those virtual GT3 cars. Look at that. Man, that is a awesome field as we see them gridding up behind that S197 that I know is absolutely equipped with a Roush Performance cold air intake from RoushParts.com to keep up with these monsters behind him. All right, we got Jonathan Crane cheering in from all the way from Maryland, cheering on Paul Darling. We got the PD fans out here. Sean Fritz throwing out a good luck, everyone. McMillian, Pam. Oh, we know who. Pamela Trent McMillian from West Virginia. She's a regular viewer, rooting on Trent there. And looks like Charlie Peterson is watching. Murphy Nichols is watching as these guys are getting ready to take off here.
Yeah, pace car is underway, leading this field of 20 GT3 cars around the last few turns of this 10-turn circuit, 2.68 miles here at the Red Bull Ring. And it is a very fast track, Trevor. They're doing 145 miles an hour 4 different times, and they're doing 125 miles an hour at least 5 different times a lap, so they keep them wound up here. And we'll see they throw the green relatively early, but we have to be patient here as this field of Paul Darling, Andrew Pilata leads them down, staying patient. That McLaren throwing flames out the back end. I see it there off the gas, looking pretty cool. And we've got green flag here at the RoushParts.com mini-series as Paul Darling leads this field up into turn 1. It looks like they're staying pretty calm behind him for now. Looking like we get 3 wide a couple rows back. People being pretty smart up over the curb. Now, what's pretty interesting is this racetrack has lots of long straightaways. We see them tucked in line, single file. We're going to see if anybody has a lower downforce package that might be able to slingshot right around Paul Darling, as this field looks pretty calm here for this first lap in big time brake zones as Ross Booth gets up and over the curb there, trying to stay attached to that bumper of that Mercedes of Paul Darling there up front.
Yeah, no, that has to be one of the cleanest starts that we've seen in a while. Normally there's a little bit more bumping, a little bit of smoke, but that one was clean as a whistle coming out. And Paul is liking that fresh air, but Andrew just shortly behind him, looking at every little move as we jump to the cockpit here of Andrew Pilata.
You can see as we ride along here in this Ferrari, got a Porsche in front of us and a Mercedes leading the way, and then got a pink Mercedes behind, followed by McLaren. Looking at, looks like 3 or 4, it looks like a handful of different manufacturers represented here in the top few spots. As Paul Darling rounds this final turn, as you see, really hits this compression and out onto the front straight for the first time. He will lead lap 1 from pole. Looks like position number 3 there, Andrew Pilata, is tucked up right behind Ross Booth in the Porsche. See what happens here on the exit of turn 1. If we can get a car with a better run of steam, take advantage of these big, long straightaways, get tucked up in that draft, as it looks like everybody's staying, for the most part, single file up here in the front.
Man, you know, I'm going to say Ross is going to do something a little different this race. He knows Paul's tempo. He knows what kind of driver he is. I think Ross is going to push Paul to maybe a point of a little bit more pressure than I think we typically see. I think Ross definitely has it in him to take a win here away from Paul.
I think so too, but if we want to hop back a little bit further, Trent McMillan is having one heck of a race with the Lamborghini of Max Baumann, and it looks like they've caused a little bit of a traffic jam right behind him. And you see that red car with the lights on back there? I think I spot Jack Roush Jr. doing a little bit of hunting.
I do. There he is. He's got those lights, LEDs fully on. He knows exactly where he's going. And I think, just as we said, guys, we're going to see Jack start to climb the ladder here more towards the podium.
Definitely. And it looks like big-time mover Chandler Welling taking a look down the inside and unfortunately sends Jack Roush Jr. off into the tires. Taco Bell striking early, too early for late night out there.
He was in a hurry. He was trying to get home. That's what happens when Taco Bell hits you. You just got to get home, no matter who's in your way. Man,
yeah, you know,
is tough.
I know that Jack is a fierce competitor, and I know he's got the bit between his teeth. I'm sure that he's going to get right back out there and do some laps. As it looks like Chandler is actually under attack once again from the Porsche of Murphy Nichols after he had that little slip up through the final corner with Jack. It looks like he's going to have to concede that position to Murphy Nichols as moves that Porsche up one spot.
You know, that Murphy Nichols, he had an absolute solid run last race. And surprisingly, I just feel like Murphy should be a top 5 competitor here. He's consistent, quick, a little bit of aggressive of a driver, which I think is exactly I like to see. Makes racing a little bit more exciting here. And, of course, rocking that... oh, I apologize. No, that's Chandler rocking the Taco Bell.
Yeah, looks like Chandler and Steve are both rocking some Taco Bell liveries. I know they're coming at us from Podium 1 Racing out there in Nashville. I know that we might have a little interview with them a little bit later, and pretty exciting stuff that they're doing. So make sure you stick around for afterwards and learn all about it.
And check this out as we zone in on Andrew Pilata here. He is definitely putting the pressure down on Ross here. We've seen that gap quickly shorten from last lap. I don't know if there was a miss there for Ross, but Andrew quickly took advantage of it and has found that Porsche bumper.
You are right. And what I'm seeing is everybody's worst nightmare of Paul Darling just starting to inch away a little bit each lap. And it certainly looks like he's just got that little bit of pace on the rest of the field. As second place, Ross Booth runs wide, nips a couple tires off into the grass, and through goes Andrew Pilata for second place in that Ferrari. And actually, if we look behind him, there has been a little bit of a mix-up. John Kroom looks like he made a mistake, and Paul Slavonic now holding down that fourth place position in that red, black American wheelman Roush eSports McLaren. Shooting flames out the back of this thing is Paul Slavonic if we watch him for a couple laps.
Man, Paul, I idolize Paul and the stuff that he's doing. Such obviously a fierce competitor. And writing a few different books that I've actually ordered one on Amazon. Quite the talented driver here, and of course just overall great guy, and he's been known to help the Roush team as we get through a bunch of these series.
He has, and it looks like John Crew might have gotten, I don't know, maybe a slowdown, maybe a black flag, I'm not sure, but it looks like he pulled in the pits once Paul Slavonic got around him, so we'll have to check in with one of our front runners maybe after the race, see what happened there. But up front, still looks like we've got Paul Darling, new second place runner of Andrew Pilata in the Ferrari, followed by Ross Booth in the Porsche, and then we got Paul Slavonic in the McLaren, and then finally another Mercedes in fifth place. But look at that, another manufacturer representation in sixth with the Lamborghini there with Max Baumann. Not too bad. 5 different manufacturers in the top 6.
Not bad at all, yeah. And just as Joey said, the top 4, as you see at the top of your screen, Darling, Pilata, Booth, Slavonic. You know, I'm glad to see Slavonic up here, as he's always been a extremely fierce competitor. He's always a podium finisher. So maybe if anyone can do it here, it's Paul as he works his way through the field.
Definitely keep your eye on that 528 McLaren with Slavonic in there. I know that that car has got some tremendous top-end speed with the McLaren. Maybe if things start getting a little dicey up front, you'll see that thing come up real fast behind. And then shout out to Will Robbins right now running position number 5 in that Mercedes. Got a nice American wheelman on the door. Got all of our sponsor partner logos on it. Give a shout out: Continental Tire, Castrol, Haggerty Motorsport Reg, American Wheelman, and McConey Setup Shop. These cars do look awesome out there, don't they?
They absolutely do. I was just kind of scanning through on my other monitor here, and yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I know we were taking a look at him earlier, was Murphy. I love this kind of like throwback retro feel of the Porsche. I don't know why that just screams retro to me. I don't know. It almost looks like the Kodak camera design almost. Let me see if we get there's a little better shot there.
Yeah, no, I saw that one earlier, and it looks great out there.
It's a little loose.
And it actually looks like we've had another change for second place. Looks like Andrew Pilata actually had a slowdown because he ran wide in the final turn the last lap. Had to give that back to Ross Booth. And it really looks like right now, first, second, third, fourth are all separated by about a second, maybe a second and a half, as they're trying to chase down Paul Darling, as Paul makes no mistakes out front and is just leading the charge.
And yeah, it looks like we got 4 laps to go, guys, of the first portion of the race, and then we're going to take a quick break. We're going to kind of highlight our partners during that break, and also talk about some really cool things coming, and also a huge opportunity for iRacers, or if you want to become an iRacer but you don't feel completely comfortable, we have the team for you. So make sure you stick around during the break, yeah, definitely we're gonna check that one out here. Looks like I'm looking back. I know Jack got back on track here. I don't know if he was able to stay on the lead lap there.
Yeah, I think Jack is on the lead lap right now. He's benefiting from, I hear Jim Johnson on the radio right now saying he's out of fuel. Looks like he left his qualifying setup in on accident.
Oh,
and then
no.
It happens. It's not the first time we've heard of that in a Roush eSports race, is it?
This is true. There he is. Oh no, that's a tough one there.
We'll have to pull Jim in once all the races are done. I know that he's a great friend and regular in the IMSA paddock. So always great to see Jim out here at our events. But yeah, looks like Jack is out there. He is still on the lead lap. Got that Lamborghini rear bumper banged up just a little bit. And he's closing up on old-time friend Rolly Filgaris right there in front of him. These two are longtime buddies. Rolly is a fellow racer out there and has done a lot of racing with the Roush racing team throughout the years. And so these guys know each other quite well off the track. And it looks like Rolly's going to try to block Jack here for this position. He says, you ain't going to get by that easy. And you got to be careful about running too wide there on these corner exits. You will get a slowdown. As we saw it happen to a couple of our other competitors earlier.
You know who's just been... Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I bet you that Jack has just a little bit more pace as we see him get a great exit out of turn 1. Maybe pull a nice draft through here. Make an opportunistic move going into one of these braking zones here on Rolly. But it looks like Rolly says, you know what? I'm going to take lessons from me here tonight.
That'll come for a interesting conversation later, that's for sure. But you know who's just been absolutely running solid is Will Robbins here in the 35 American Wheelman Mercedes, just absolutely running his own race, holding on to a top 5, running an absolute solid race at that. I was checking out his times for the past last few laps, and quite impressive actually. I'm surprised of where Will's at here at the moment. I definitely see him being a top 3 car.
Yeah, Will was a good competitor at Watkins Glen as well for us. And yeah, Mercedes is looking great out there with all of the logos on it. And we'll see what he can do here in race 2, because if he holds station, he's going to qualify right there for right there in 5th for race number 2. So we'll just have to keep an eye on him as the night progresses.
And back to Chandler and the 20 car. Looking at the closest battle on the track might just be right here, the number 20 and 7 car, Stephen Baker, as they're about a car length away from each other here.
You're right, and a shout out to Stephen Baker. Stephen is actually a good friend of mine out here in the Northwest in the Seattle area. And always happy to see him out here competing with us in the Roush eSports events. I know that he is trying to launch his professional racing career here with us, and so good luck with that, Stephen.
That's pretty cool. Well, you know, that's what's actually so neat, though, about iRacing is you've actually seen people launch their professional careers off iRacing. So it's pretty cool to see that. Oh, man, looks like down goes Murphy Nichols in the 55 Porsche. Looks like he spun around there. It was able to recover, stay on this lead lap. So you'll see that Porsche quickly climb back up into the top 10.
And we should be starting our final lap here. I know it's right in between the 10 laps, 11 laps, but should be final lap as we look at Paul Darling back out front here. Commanding lead throughout this race. Second place has closed up just a little bit as Andrew Pilata right on the back of that Porsche. I think that he has shown a little bit more speed than Ross throughout the entire race. And maybe with just a couple corners left can apply a little bit more pressure and see if he can take away that second place that he had once earlier.
Yeah, and looking right here, Trenton McMillan as he hunts down Max in the 89 Lambo here. That's might just try to go for that extra spot here to hold on to 6th here.
Both of these leaders are dipping wheels off on these last closing laps, not leaving anything on the racetrack right now. They know that they have to push at 10/10 if they want to stay in front of each other.
And yeah, I think Jonathan Crane, he's saying the same thing. Paul Darling might pull off this grand slam and go all 4 events on that P1 position as he takes the checkered flag here of race 1 of the Roush Parts mini series.
You are
there
right. Paul Darling looking pretty invincible out there, you know, and we'll see what happens in race 2, but some exciting racing still coming to a close here as it looks like this train of 3 between the Audi, BMW, Porsche can't figure out who wants that final position. Mixing up dirt, trying to draft it through the end. Looks like Chandler will hang on to it over Stephen Baker. Murphy Nichols following close there behind.
Here's Jack Jr. and Rolando here.
Looks like
Jack, yep, he gave up that spot. Jack took it from him.
Give a rundown here at the results of race number 1. Paul Darling, our race winner, followed by Ross Booth, looking identical to our Watkins Glen race 1. Third place, Andrew Pilata rounding out that podium. Paul Slavonic, position 4. It's a great finish for Paul. Will Robbins there in 5th place for the top 5. Max Baumann, Trent McMillan, Joe Nagy, Sean Fritz, and Chandler Welling. That's your top 10, followed by Stephen Baker in 11th, Murphy Nichols, Peachy Campos, Jack Roush Jr., Rolly Filgaris. That's your top 15. Then we got John Kroom, early race. I guess he was up front there in 16th. Jim Johnson, Steve Palladino, and David Trumbley rounding out our field of GT3 cars.
What a solid start to the Roush Parts Mini Series. Final race here, guys, but we're going to go racing one more time here in about 4.5 minutes. So stay tuned. We're going to get a quick message from our partners, and we're going to let you in on a little secret on how to be the ultimate iRacer and run with these guys. So check it out.
you can feel confident Continental is the smart choice in tires.
Can they handle extremes?
Yep. Tested from the Texas desert to near the Arctic Circle.
Really?
Really.
Anything for the guy who finds that one pothole?
Yeah, road hazard coverage has your back.
For real?
Absolutely.
Were they made by like a bajillion engineers?
Well, closer to 100. Continental. Welcome to the smart choice in tires.
Relying on racing stripes to boost your car's performance? That's not confidence. Sporting the mother of all mega spoilers? That's definitely not confidence. Relying on Castrol Edge to unlock maximum performance? Now that's confidence. It's 3 times stronger than the leading full synthetic, with 10 times better high temperature performance. It's confidence in a bottle. Castrol Edge. Maximum performance. Maximum confidence.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. There's a reason that Makoni Setup Shop is trusted by more virtual and real-world tracks and companies than any other setup shop in iRacing. With partners such as Stafford Motor Speedway, the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway, Five Flags Speedway, Speed 51, and more. When you want something done right, you go to the experts at Makoni Setup Shop.
With setups available for most series on both asphalt and dirt, built by a team of professional builders consisting of some of the top talents on the service, Makoni Setup Shop LLC has what you need to hit the track with confidence. Head over to MakoniSetupShop.com and learn why Makoni Setup Shop is the official setup shop of Richmond Raceway eSports and is partnered with some of the largest names in virtual and real racing.
And remember, at Makoni Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
All right, there it is, guys. That's all the secret is to iRacing. You just contact guys over at Makoni, and they'll get you set up. They'll get your car set up. They'll get you feeling confidence, just like Castrol said, right? Come on. There it is, guys. But let me just tell you, we got a minute 20 left. Wow, I just saw a super quick time get put down by Max Bogman here. Let's see, maybe Max is going to be the next contender here on the next race here. And Joey, there's a little bit of a twist here on this next race. Did you tell the fans about it quite yet?
I don't. Do they need to know?
No, actually, let's not. Let's just grid them, and then we'll tell them. But until then, guys, I don't know if you've seen the shirt that I'm wearing. Boom. It's super sweet. It's super comfy. And let me just tell you guys, we took our apparel to the absolute next level. And all you have to do is head over to gear.roushperformance.com and check out our latest gear. And guys, we're getting ready to launch some new products, new apparel items on there. And guess what, guys? There's going to be a specialty tee shirt that actually already hit. And it's going to be offered all throughout the weekend to actually showcase our the Crandon Championship and showcase those Roush performance athletes, Jarrett Brooks, Corey Winters, Keegan Kincaid. They're all running those Roush-powered off-road trucks, and we're getting ready to see them take on the championship. I'm getting ready actually to head out on a flight and support those guys, so be sure to follow along on Roush Performance Instagram, socials. We're going to be posting videos, behind-the-scenes type stuff, so we hope that you guys are able to check that out. But make sure you get your gear to support those guys, because it's an awesome like throwback vintage t-shirt feel. It's pretty cool. Or you can obviously check out the Sparkplug tee here. So it looks like, guys, we're going to be going back to the racing here as these guys are getting ready to grid up. Dana Valcourt, Roush Road crew chief. Gonna have to get my car tuned up. You do, Dana. you can be a competitor out there. Hey, guys, if you want to join Dana and the crew, head over to the Roush Road Crew, click sign up, and get an awesome kit this year. And I think we're going to have a pretty cool season next year for the Roush Road Crew. Events planning has already started. So if you're a Roush Road Crew member, represent. Let's see it in the comment section below. If you are, little hand raise, as it looks like those guys are getting ready to grid. Joey, this is a beautiful view from the blimp. Look at that green.
Yeah, we got to thank Dougie Beard for that.
Yeah.
Dougie Beard always coming in and giving us the hottest cameras.
Yes, absolutely.
But, okay, now that we're officially starting, we'll let you in on a little curveball. For race 2, we are actually taking the top 10 results from race 1 and flipping them upside down. So whoever finished 10th will now be starting on pole. Whoever finished first, Paul Darling, is now starting in 10th place. So he is going to have to work his way up through the field, as it looks like Chandler Welling is not taking the green flag. So we will have an open spot there at the P1 position. Have to talk with them afterwards and see what the reasoning is behind that.
Someone didn't make it back in time. That's what happens.
It very well could be, as it looks like Trent McMillian will be leading the field here to the green flag. These guys do have to stay until the green flag is displayed as they line up 2 by 2 here for race number 2, the RoushParts.com miniseries, and we are underway with the green flag here for the next 10 laps. Side by side, going into turn 1, 3 wide, a little bit further in the back, looks about 5 or 6 rows back, as it looks like we got a big accordion effect through turn 1 as we got 3 wide coming up the straightaway here to turn 2. Paul Slavonic in that McLaren looking down the inside. That Lamborghini, I believe that's Max Baumann there. That pink Mercedes, John Kroom, dicing it up there in the number 15 car. Looks like we have a little bit of contact side by side as they all kind of come together, but everybody makes it through this super sharp turn. I see Ross Booth, Paul Darling all starting to make their way through up.
Yeah, it looks like Slavonic and Robbins traded a little paint there, but was able to keep things on the straight and narrow. And there's Max Bogman there. That's who I seen run a pretty quick lap. So seeing him in the 4th position here might be a good position for him to work his way up to P1.
Yeah, well, actually, Paul Slavonic is there in that 4th position right now, as it looks like he is on a charge trying to make his way up to the front of the field. Looks like currently leading, we got Sean Fritz out front, followed by Trent McMillian, Joe Nagy, Paul Slavonic, and Will Robbins rounding out the top 5 as they come through the last turn, completing lap number 1 of race 2 here tonight at the Red Bull Ring. Ross Booth taking a look out. Looks like Andrew Pilata doing the same thing as these faster cars try to work their way up through the field. Max Baumann says, no, not that easy, as Ross takes it 2 wide. Looks like Ross will get that position. Paul Slavonic starting to make his way up, looking for that 3rd place position as that red and black Mercedes or McLaren hard on the brakes. Will Robbins following him through. Paul Darling getting into a little bit of accident, and oh no, looks like we've got a 3-car pileup on the exit of turn 2, as all of them were just trying to get on the power at the same time. Really low grip area, and they just all got collected there on the outside, as it looks like everybody gets turned around okay and get back going again.
But here you go. Right here is our last race winner, Paul Darling, as he's fighting back through the field. And let me just tell you guys, he does not have just easy components to get by with Slavonic, McMillian, and Fritz, and 1, 2, 3. I can tell you one thing. Slavonic is someone that he is going to race you, and he's going to race you hard. And he's going to appear to be the width of a bus here. So I think it's going to make for some pretty exciting racing in the next coming laps here with Paul. Both Pauls. It'll be the duel of the Pauls.
Yeah, Paul is always a fierce competitor. Same with Paul. And yeah, I think that the McLaren is going to be very difficult to pass as our leader, Sean Fritz, gives a little wiggle of the tail out of turn 1 there that lap. But second, third, fourth, and fifth is all stacked up really close. But I've got my eye on that blue Ferrari hanging out there in 5th place right behind Paul Darling, as it looks like the 528 McLaren once again makes a move down the inside. That's been a favorite spot for Paul Slavonic passing here in race number 2, as he really takes advantage of that McLaren horsepower. Maybe he's got... Maybe those flames out the exhaust are propelling him down the straightaway a little bit faster. Maybe
I was
it's
just gonna say that.
afterburner on the back of that
What
thing.
is up with that? Oh, I guess he is the only McLaren, is he, in the stage? So that's why we're not seeing it from any other cars here.
Correct, as it looked like Trenton McMillian got 2 wheels off on the exit there, shovels him back a couple places. That worked out nicely for Paul Darling and Andrew Pilata. Ross Booth now next up to try to get around Trent McMillian there, as Sean Fritz continues to lead this pack of hungry GT3 cars behind. But really, it looks like now this field has kind of sorted itself out to where we were before. But with that invert, Paul Slavonic out front. We'll see if he can hunt down this Mercedes of Sean Fritz as he gets pressure behind him. That Paul Darling car, number 155, and that blue Ferrari. Paul Darling very close going into turn 1, decides to back off, try to get a better run here out of the exit, and maybe get around the McLaren going down the straightaway, although we've seen this McLaren wicked fast.
No, absolutely, and that's, I think we might see it right here as they go.
Yeah, we're going to go side by side.
there.
Slavonic's not going to give it up this easy as they go side by side through the apex. Still side by side, 2 by 2. Well, I guess only them side by side. Andrew Pilata closely following. He's licking his lips right now, trying to figure out a way. Paul Slavonic wisely tucks back in line there.
And watching Sean Fritz, he is absolutely running, obviously, his own race out front there. And looking at the last couple best times here, I mean, we're only hundredths of a second off between Darling and Fritz. I mean, it's going to take some laps to hunt this guy down.
I agree. You know, it's not going to happen just right now, but I've really got my eye on that 96 blue Ferrari. I think that he's just trying to get by Paul Slavonic because, in my opinion, he's been the fastest car on the racetrack here in race 2. You know, Darling may be in front of him right now, but I think that blue Ferrari has shown a little bit more pace getting up and through. We'll see what happens as really right now this top 5 is packed pretty close together, followed by another group of 4. Followed by Trent McMillian, Steve Baker, Murphy Nichols, and I believe John Kroom back there.
That's one thing, John, and I was actually just looking at John's last couple laps as well in the 45 car. He is absolutely running some super strong times, like within just striking distance if he was right behind Darling here. So watching him climb, we might see him be able to pick off Baker, McMillian, and Booth, this little 4-car train.
You're right, as this 96 blue Ferrari is just peeking his nose, being respectful, saying, hey, Mr. Slavonic, I'm trying to make my way through here because it looks like we're all hunting down the leader. And guys, it might be a 5-car battle for the lead here in just another lap, as it looks like Sean Fritz makes a mistake. Wins it around in front of these cars. Really stacks them all up. That's going to be his race down the trash, as it looks like Andrew Pilata getting really aggressive with Paul Slavonic through these high-speed corners. He will take this position. Oh, man, that McLaren hanging on the outside with those afterburners ablaze.
Oh,
and
contact
looks like
between Booth and Pilata. Bang,
the
hard
96
crash.
is going to go for a ride big time. Ross Booth just got his nose right up in there as everybody was going too wide, and I just wasn't sure if Andrew Pilata knew that that Porsche was right there as he was coming back across the track, and unfortunately ended up in the tire wall. Ross Booth still chasing down the McLaren here, Paul Slavonic, trying to get that second place out front as these guys work lap number 6.
I don't know, maybe Ross is listening in on the broadcast. He's like, man, these guys aren't talking about me enough. I'm going to make some noise here. But he is super quick here. And as they started stacking up, I thought they were going to be a little bit more, hold the reins a little bit with 5 laps to go. But Ross says, nope, let me have him. And he's definitely showing that.
That's a really interesting part of the racetrack where you're just flat out in a big S section, and they were just kind of all jockeying for position, and they were all overlapping each other. And I just think that Andrew Pilato was moving back to where he wanted to go and just wasn't aware that Ross Booth had the bumper on him, as Paul Slavonic makes the same mistake as Sean Fritz did last lap and lets Ross Booth through for second place.
And hopping back here, guys, to sixth position, Murphy. Looks like there's a little bit of a battle between McMillian, Nichols, Kroom here as they keep stacking up. I think we're going to see probably some position changes here. But just as we talked about, Kroom slowly picking him off as he got through this four-car train.
You're right. That is Stephen Baker going too wide with John Kroom. Power move from that Mercedes on the outside around the BMW, as it looks like we've got some contact between Trent McMillian and Sean Fritz. Oh, I'm sorry, Trent McMillian and Murphy Nichols a little bit further back coming through that same turn. Both just go for a real slow, lazy spin. And it just goes to show you how on the edge these cars are through these turns. It's such high-speed turns at this racetrack that even the littlest amount of contact will send your car completely around. Up front, lap number 7, Paul Darling, followed closely by Ross Booth, followed closely by Paul Slavonic. These front three haven't changed at all. John Kroom there in 4th place. Stephen Baker, great run for him coming in 5th place right now. Sean Fritz running in 6th after leading the majority of this race and having a small mistake. Chandler Welling has made his way all the way up to 7th. Now, if you guys remember, Chandler was supposed to start on pole. He would have had a great shot at this. Followed by Jack Roush Jr. Looks like he has kept his nose clear of the Taco Bell drive-through line this time. Finds himself in 8th place, clear of any gas that's going on.
Man, we got people calling it in the comment section early. Ryan Christoph, he's putting out the sweepers for Paul. I don't know. Maybe too early to call. We got 4 laps to go here.
I know that Ross Booth streams these races, and he always has a good commentary, and I'm sure that he is yelling at Paul Darling right now. Just trying to figure out a way to come and get around him. But guys, this is the closest that Ross has been in all of the races. Really tucked up behind Paul Darling as we work lap 8 here. Maybe this Porsche has got a little bit of something for our leader here in the final closing laps.
And guys, you can see at the bottom of your screen the best lap times of the night with a 1:29.0 by Darling and a 1:29.1 by Booth. So this is the competitive racing that we're seeing. This is why we're seeing that gap close down, and we're seeing Booth with a heck of a run here. And I'm pretty sure the first Roush Parts Mini Series race, I was calling for a Booth win. His driving style is aggressive, it's out there, and I think he's hungry for a win, and he might put a stop to the sweepers.
You know what? I'm going to hop on board that hype train with you, Trev. I think we need to see this 03 Porsche maybe get a little bit of aggressive. It's not Ross Booth style, but we have seen him make a little bit of contact earlier in this race. He's got a couple laps left to decide where he wants to make the move. But really, look at this Porsche. Looks like he's fastest here in the final couple laps, as the Mercedes might be a little bit faster on the front half of the track, but this is as close as they've been. It looks like we've got 2 laps remaining here at the RoushParts.com mini-series.
Oh, man, and oh my gosh, Ross Booth actually just beat Darling for the fastest time of the night. He just locked in a 1:28.5 following Darling's 1:28.7 just that last lap. So Booth is absolutely running super fast times right now.
You're right. This is as fast as all of these guys qualified. Okay, so they're out there pushing it at 11:10. These cars are empty on gas. They're getting low there, and it's everything they got right now. They know that they've only got a lap and a half remaining, and if Ross Booth actually wants to win this race, he's going to have to make a move. Now, I noticed that the Porsche was a little bit better through the final half of this racetrack, and we are approaching that area right now. Let's see if the Porsche can once again close it up a little bit on the Mercedes out front. and try to take advantage of just any little inch of racetrack that he can try to get around Paul Darling.
Man, their speeds are absolutely matched. You guys can see when they come off the gas, back on the gas, their speeds are literally identical. These guys are so in sync. I mean, you're looking at probably one of the 2 best iRacing drivers right here on the screen. And with 2 laps to go, this is going to get crazy exciting. And just as you said, Joe, Ross is super quick with those last couple laps as he puts a bumper down. Oh, is he looking? And it looks
he
like
knows that turn 1 just isn't quite the passing opportunity that he needs, but he's trying to maximize every single exit that he can. And you're right, he was monster out of that last turn, but it looks like the Mercedes pulled out a little bit of space on him there. We'll see if Ross can close it up on the brakes as they both wiggle it, take it deep as they can there in this braking zone. That Porsche tucked right up under the back wing of the Mercedes. He's running out of time. Only a couple turns remaining. But guys, this is where that Porsche starts to reel in that Mercedes. We know it's fast here in the last final couple turns where the speeds really start to climb up.
He is fast.
We'll see if Ross Booth can find a way, maybe put the nose to that Mercedes. Maybe get around for this checkered flag here as we're running out of turns. Only a couple more remaining. They both just barely dip the gravel coming through these high-speed 100-mile-an-hour turns. Looks like Paul Darling actually stretched it out a little bit. He's just got to keep it nice and calm and cool through the last couple, doesn't he?
Man, I'm lost for words here. I definitely thought this was going to be a little bit closer. Let's see if Darling looks like he hangs on to it. Oh, Booth grabbing some grass there at the end. And there is the sweep by Paul Darling. Ryan, you called it. A lot of fans for Paul Darling in the house tonight. Paul with the extremely impressive sweep of the RoushParts.com mini-series. Man, super pumped to have these competitors. That is Class A racing right there, guys. As I think we might see, hopefully, we'll see Darling throw down some donuts here. I don't know if Sylvanic's trying to get in on that or what's going on there. Let's see.
You know,
here.
I think Paul Sylvanic was definitely happy to be running up front, as Paul Darling does look like he's doing some Bernies out there.
There it is. Well deserved. Yep, getting it down. Paul Darling busting out the broom, sweeping up the competition. Big win right here on the RoushParts.com mini-series. Man, we hope you guys had a blast on the RoushParts.com mini-series as we are going to go to post-race interviews. Is that Sylvanic down there? He'll always put on a good show. Let me just tell you that. Even if Sylvanic's not winning, he's throwing it down. But we're going to grab a few of the drivers here.
Yeah, I'll go grab some guys, and I'll be right back.
All righty. All right, guys, and as you saw, one of our supporters and sponsors, Haggerty Motorsport Reg. If you guys haven't visited motorsporthaggertyreg.com, you absolutely need to. If you are an enthusiast in the automotive world at all, whether it's iRacing or maybe it's just daily track time, you're trying to find events near you, you can obviously utilize that platform to find events near you, or you can actually utilize it to run the event and keep track of signups. It could be car shows. There's so much integrated into the motorsportreg.com site, and it only takes just a short time to set up. So be sure to check that out. And as we saw with Castrol Carfidence, that's what when you add that oil, you know that you can take that car an extra miles and always get that tip-top performance factor. And then of course talk about performance and going the length. Continental Tires, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us and always supporting us through these events. And looks like we're getting some people on here. And then special shout out for Makoni for jumping on with us. So if you guys are looking for that additional iRacing setup and you want to be competitive and you want to get racing, then definitely get hooked up with those guys. So it looks like we got a couple people in the booth tonight. Joe, why don't you tell us who's in here with us?
Yeah, well, actually, we got a few different people here with us. Looks like we'll start off with Jack Roush Jr. And hey, Jack, I saw you had a pretty good race number 2 there, working your way up into the top 10 spot. How was it out there for you tonight?
It was good. Yeah, it was a good race. Got a little tangled up and had a battle with Chandler. We touched a little bit, which was not intentional. And I was running along at one point, got slowed down, just before I got a little loose on me and slowed down. I was going to let him by, but then we got tangled up again and tried to let him by, just to be fair at the end. But no, it was all good. I think it was a pretty good run other than that.
Awesome. Well, how did you like racing the GT3 cars? This is our first time really with this type of car here on the Roush eSports channel. And what did you think about all of the different manufacturers out there? I think for the most part, we had 5 different manufacturers running in the top 6 for the most part of the night. So it was pretty cool to see.
Yeah, it was awesome. It's nice to see the variety of cars. Just like in real life, you start to see differences in performance. Some cars have an advantage given the rules, and that's not always the same at every track or even throughout the track. It really changes quite a bit.
Yeah, it's always cool watching the racing between the different manufacturers. And just want to say thank you, Jack, for letting us come out here and put on all these awesome iRacing events. And I'm sure that everybody watching is having a blast with all of these. So just wanted to say thank you and bring in our next interviewee, Jim Johnson. Hello, Mr. Jim. How you doing, pal?
I'm good, man. I'm having a great time with you guys. Once again, I appreciate the invite. Man, what a fun race.
Let you guys know, everybody watching out there, this is Jim Johnson, founder of Rebel Rock Entertainment, Rebel Rock Racing, IMSA driver, IMSA team owner. I think you guys might have heard some of his hit songs on the radio before, but I affectionately know him as Jim, Rebel Rock, homie. How'd you like tonight, man? Did you like the racing?
Yes, I loved it. Like Jack just said, the competition and difference in cars. I've been driving a few of the cars, just testing out which car does what and how it responds and whatnot. It's neat to see, the top 5 cars up there. You got an AMG, Mercedes, a Porsche 911, a McLaren, then of course another Mercedes, BMW, Lamborghini, Audi. There's all kinds of cars in here, and everybody's competitive, respectful at some level.
We saw some door banging going on out there, and I think it might have been from one of the people that you brought in.
Yeah, it might have been old Chandler out there. I don't know.
Yo, wait.
Yeah, well, speaking of, Jim, you brought a couple of your buddies along with you here to this Roush eSports event that we are pumped to have. And I want to introduce Chandler and Steve here. And I know that you guys are opening something pretty exciting over there in Nashville, have to do with the sim racing and also just motorsports community. And we are awesome to have you here joining us on the RoushParts.com mini-series. Why don't you tell us a little bit about Podium 1?
Yeah, thanks for having us on guys. So Podium 1 Racing is a entertainment restaurant concept. First location is launching here in Nashville, and essentially it's a place for car enthusiasts and like-minded people to gather. So we're going to have up to 84 just completely pro-level, fully built-out simulators, built out an esports team, and then again, a huge parking lot for car meets and everything in between, from motorsports to detailing to on-site car repairs, modifications, etc. So we're building out what you would call like an automotive mecca here in Nashville. We're really excited about it.
Yeah, well, that is very cool to hear. It's about time somebody kind of opened something like that. And what are you guys looking like for opening time frame? Are you guys pretty far along with the project? And where can everybody come and check out Podium Racing? Is there a website, or where can they find you guys?
Yeah, great question. So podium1racing.com is where you can find us. We're selling full turnkey simulators. And in terms of opening day, shooting for Q3, Q4 next year, but still got a lot of work to do, but it's in full motion. So we're really excited.
Awesome. Well, it was awesome to have you guys. Steve, did you want to add anything to that?
No, other than just thanks for having us. I think it was awesome. I always love getting into great races with people that seem to know what they're doing. So I appreciate it. I think you guys have the gist of Podium One. Like Chandler said, check out the website, podium1racing.com. You guys kind of get the idea. I think one other cool aspect of it that we're really trying to do is connect sim racing to real world racing as well. So we have track day set up. We have multiple tracks around that we all take our cars to and go track in real life. And we want to take people through that journey, have them learn on the sims, and then go track, right? So take a look at it. But again, more importantly, thank you for having us. I think it's so cool to be able to do this. Thank you.
Yeah, no, it is awesome to have you guys. What you guys are doing out there in Tennessee sounds awesome. I will be lined up at the door on opening day, and I'm sure that you guys will have a very extensive line out the door once you guys get open. So thank you for coming and joining us, and hopefully you'll join us for future Roush eSports events.
Yeah, we'd love to. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, and, man, awesome, guys.
Yeah, Jim, thank you, guys. And I just want to say we've got a few more guys here in the booth that have finally found their way in. I think they were lost from all the smoke inside from the donuts. But we will start off with two-time series champion now, Paul Darling. Were you carrying some brooms in the car with you? Because you just smoked this thing.
That's the first time I've heard that one, actually. That was a lot of fun racing with Ross and Paul in that last one. Hopefully it was entertaining to watch.
Oh, definitely entertaining, man. And I don't know if you saw it in your mirror. Probably not. You probably got those things turned off. But I thought there was a couple faster cars hunting you between that blue Ferrari in race 2. And then also it looked like Ross was really fast in the closing laps there, that race number 2. Were you worried about the pace of any of those guys behind you, or were you just kind of on cruise control?
No, Ross is always fast, and I was really disappointed to see bummed to see Andrew spin out there with the racing incident, but yeah, Ross is always fast. I knew my car was really trimmed out, so I knew I just had to basically not screw up an exit, and I thought it would be okay, and I think that's essentially what happened there.
From my perspective, that's exactly what happened. It looked like Ross was definitely faster in the latter half of the racetrack.
Anything with the turn.
Anything with the turn, and you could put the power down on the exit and kind of scoot away down the straightaways, which is the key to success here at Red Bull Ring.
Yeah,
so,
Ross is always good to race against Ross. I think that's the first time I've been able to actually race against him directly, so it was a really, really fun experience.
Well, hopefully, we'll have you guys racing some more in some of these types of cars in the future. And Paul, you're a multi-time Roush eSports champion now. You're always welcome to join us whenever. And is there anybody that you would like to say thank you, give a shout out to?
Thank you to Jack and Joey and Trevor for you guys putting on this again. So I hope to be around for the next one too.
Oh, you will be. Let me just tell you, you're the one that puts on the show. We just got to sit here and maybe not so much look pretty, but at least just hit a bunch of buttons. But you truly put on the show, and it's always awesome having you, and look forward to the next event.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. It looks like we got second place finisher Ross Booth coming home with a few second places here in the RoushParts.com miniseries. I think this is the first Roush eSports series that you've competed in with us. Is that right, Ross?
That is correct. And about those seconds, we won't talk about those.
Well, no, you're right. I'm used to seeing you out front leading the charge, taking home those checkered flags. And that's why I was really excited to see you sign up for this series. I know that Paul Darling is always fast out there. And if there's somebody that's going to take it to him, it's definitely you. And so it's a pleasure to have you here joining us for the Roush eSports events. And did you enjoy yourself out there? I know that you're a regular in these GT3 cars, but this is a new format for you. How'd you like the racing?
I liked it a lot. It's sprint races are usually my weak link. I'm more of endurance over 60 or 90 or multiple hour races, so it's definitely a curveball for me. Haven't been racing as much as I'd like to, but hoping to race more here in the future.
Well, I know you are tremendous at those endurance races, but you certainly proved yourself here in the sprint races tonight. You know, only 10 lap races and you were hanging right there and moved your way up through, being plenty aggressive. So great driving on your part, Ross. And is there anybody that you want to give a shout out to, say thank you to?
Well, I just want to apologize to Andrew. I can't remember his last name, but Andrew in the Ferrari, I nicked him in the corner through one of the S's, and sort of a racing incident, but you never want to see anyone spin out or wreck it, so apologies to him. But yeah, thank you to you guys for inviting me, and it's an awesome event. I love watching the broadcast back. It's a lot of fun to listen to.
Ross, well, that was a stand-up act right there. We did catch that on camera, and it just looked like a little bit of a racing incident. It is always a shame when somebody gets knocked out of the way, but props for you for stepping up and saying something about it. So you're always welcome here on the Roush eSports channel, and hopefully we'll see you next time.
Wait, so Joe, is this a bad time? Yes. Is this a bad time to tell Ross about the bump and run? Because, you know, I mean, I've tried to talk to JP, Jack's son, about bump and run and karting. Ross, I was trying to see a win. I was rooting for you. I was on eBay looking for a Ross Booth shirt. I couldn't find one, but if you have a link, send it to me, because now I'm a huge fan. But hey, bump and run, we can have fun here, right? I did hear the apology, so I know what kind of driver you are. But hey, if you ever want to just throw some sparks, bump and run. But hey, we appreciate having you.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I don't have too much NASCAR in me. I have more, not enough NASCAR, I guess. Anyways, thank you guys.
No, yeah, if you guys are looking for an amusing stream, go follow Ross Booth, I believe Zippy on Twitch.
The real _Zippy, yep.
Yeah, go follow him on Twitch. He's always an amusing time with his commentary while he's racing. So thanks, Ross, for coming out and participating with us.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
All right, and rounding out our final interview tonight, he made it onto the podium, so he's here in the interview booth by merit this time. Paul Slavonic.
What the heck, Joey? I think that's the greatest intro I've ever received. That's awesome. So thank you for that.
Hey, man, look, you had those afterburners turned on that McLaren for the whole race, you know?
Yeah.
It looked like the thing was a rocket ship down the straight line. Can I see your documents folder, the one with the McLaren in it? It needs to go to tech inspection.
How you guys doing? Let's change the subject.
Yeah, Paul. Good to see you, man.
No,
oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, to Joey's point, I don't think I ever saw fire stop coming out of the rear of your vehicle the entire race. I don't know how just the rear fascia hasn't completely melted off.
Yeah, that's really the perk of this car. I don't know all the technical stuff of it, but it just looks cool. You know, it's got a bit of that old school characteristic of it, and that's why I kind of jumped back into this car. And now that you can actually drive it in iRacing, it isn't just try to kill you immediately. Later on in the race, it tries to kill you, but right away, it's a fun car to drive. But I'm glad that iRacing has put some work back into it and made it fun, drivable again. So I plan to do some more GT3 stuff in this car.
Awesome. Well, Paul, it's awesome to have you out here. You know, you've been absent for a couple of our prior ones, but fantastic to see the 528 car out there on track. You know, you're always welcome with us. And yeah, man, it's great to have you back in the booth here. And how'd you like the racing? Have you been doing much GT3 stuff? I know you've been doing more like the Brazilian stock car, I think.
Yeah, I've been doing the Brazilian stuff and then a little bit of IndyCar on the side, which I have absolutely no relation, but I think that just having that wide span of different skill set, I think that really helped with jumping back into GT3 stuff. Because it's been a few months since I've done anything GT related. So jumping back into this car and this track, I hate this track. I'm just going to let y'all know this. So when I saw this on the thing, I was like, yeah, I'm not running that. But I got in it last night and did some laps and went to bed frustrated. And I told myself I probably wasn't going to run, but you know, it was was beckoning to me, so I decided again and just to give it a shot. So I'm glad I did. You know, I've really found some pace with a few little setup tweaks, but it's always fun racing with you guys. The racing is always clean. It's always well organized, so it's always a treat to race with you guys.
Well, thank you, Paul. And yeah, is there anybody that you want to give a shout out to, say thank you to tonight?
Or any
you
new
guys, Roush Performance Esports, I want to thank you guys for putting this on. American Wheelman, and then Fuel Clothing. Those guys always have the good stuff. I want to thank my wife for let me do all this stuff late into the evening over here. And yeah, just look forward to what you guys have in store next.
Yeah, well, thank you, Paul. It's always a pleasure to.
Don't tell him anything.
I won't tell him. Don't worry, Jack.
Send me an instant message. Yeah.
Yeah, no, like I said, Paul, it's always a pleasure having you on. So thank you for coming out and participating with us. And with that, Trev, I think that pretty much rounds out RoushParts.com miniseries. I want to give a shout out once again to all of our partners that have been involved with this. You know, we got Continental Tire, Castrol, Haggerty Motorsport Reg, American Wheelman, and McConey Setup Shop came on board here. And from what we found out here tonight, also looks like PodiumOneRacing.com if you're out in the Tennessee area and looking for something exciting to do with motorsports. Definitely check those guys out.
Yeah, Music City, Nashville. I was actually able to kind of see the early construction of that building. And let me just tell you guys, being an automotive enthusiast and being involved in both iRacing and obviously the racing side of things, let me just tell you, this is going to be the ultimate place to hang out. I might be the first person to sign up here on the Podium membership on PodiumOneRacing.com. But yeah, Jack, I know... and Joey, we had some fun through this RoushParts.com mini-series, and trust me, guys, we're already planning for the next one. Some really big stuff coming down the pipeline that we're not going to quite announce now, but we'll announce here pretty soon. Jack, you got anything?
Just thanks to you guys in the booth and to the competitors and to you guys watching it.
All right, guys. Well, that's a wrap on RoushParts.com mini-series right here on the Roush Performance eSports page, the official page of Roush Performance. And you know where to shop parts. You ready to get your car to the next level, take that performance factor up a notch, get to the grocery store a little quicker, take the kids to school a little faster. I know y'all are running late, but hey, if you want to look good while running late, head over to gear.roushperformance.com. Check out the latest swag as I'm rocking that Sparkplug tee. Some really cool stuff on there. And be sure to like, follow, and tell your friends what's going on over here. And we will see you guys next time. See y'all.